what's going on in the real estate industry, there's just so much noise. What can you control? Yourself, your actions, your daily habits. Those are the things that you can control.
But rich people got problems too, just money's not one of them.
Every business goes through periods of adaptability. And if you don't adapt, it's going to be a problem. Are your commissions about to get slashed by 30%? There's so much noise in the real estate marketplace right now, in the news, in the real estate news about, all the lawsuits and the NAR stuff. And there's a lot of just, it's just kind of crazy out there right now. And so it can be hard sometimes for real estate agents to sort through and be like, hey, what does this mean for my business? Am I going to wake up without a job tomorrow? So we thought we need to talk about this. Before we do, please take some time. Please take some time to like, subscribe, follow. Please go jump on our Instagram. We need to boost our Instagram. We got lots of followers and engagement on YouTube, but if you guys would do us a favor on Instagram, also free t-shirt. If you give us a Google business rating, we'd love to, again, get some feedback from you guys. But can we be honest for a second? We're really kind of like pushing through right now because we've done a webinar. We've done a cohort this morning. So we've been on video a lot. We've been on camera a lot. And we recorded this podcast and we forgot to record on the sound. So we had the video, but we didn't have the sound. And so it's a real bummer sometimes when you're going through that and it's like, okay, you got a big day and you've got all of this stuff that you got to do and then something falls apart. And I thought this would be a really good opportunity to share with you guys just sometimes this stuff gets hard, right? It's like exactly where people are in their real estate business right now. It's like, man, I'm doing the right things. And I'm pushing and I missed a step somewhere. And what you got to do sometimes is you guys just pick yourself back up and get back at it, right? Because you're doing the right stuff. You're doing the right thing. And that stuff's just going to happen. It's bound to happen because guess what? Everybody's human. And so I just want to share that with you guys so you would know, that this isn't all, we have pretty good production value on this. We have, I think we have good content. We've got good followership, but sometimes it's just like things go south sometimes. That's just how it works.
No question.
All right. But speaking about, back to what we're talking about in terms of like what's going on in the real estate industry, there's just so much noise. And it can be a distraction. And what I want to tell you first, and I always think about this, we teach this in Six-Figure School, okay? When you're thinking about your life, okay, think about it as a bullseye, okay? And you've got three, like a bullseye, and then you got a circle around that bullseye, and then you got another circle around that bullseye, okay? So that center circle is the circle of control. The bullseye is the circle of control. What can you control? Yourself, your actions, your daily habits, your routines, the people you reach out to. Those are the things that you can control. The circle around that bullseye is what we call the circle of influence. Those are people who you can influence, like friends, family, clients, right? And then if you put a circle around that, there's the circle of concern. Those are things that you can be concerned about, but you can't control and you can't influence. So a lot of this stuff that we're talking about out there in the real estate world, should you be concerned about it? Sure. Is there anything you can do about it? No, right? For most of our listeners, unless you're just like a top dog at the National Association of Realtors or you're a lobbyist or something like that, then yeah, you can influence that decision, still can't control it. But I can tell you just for quality of life, the more you focus on the circle of control, the better. And then the more you focus on control and then add in a little bit of influence, the better. But again, don't try to control the people who are within your circle of influence. Focus on controlling yourself, your habits, your routines, how you are towards people. That's the stuff that really, really matters. So just so many people though right now are distracted with all that noise. And, I want to tell you guys, like, just start controlling what's coming into your brain. Manage your media. You were talking about this before, and managing your media. It's like the news, they're not out there. They're out there trying to get clicks.
Yeah. The news is not designed to give you perfectly factual information that you can walk away from and make your own informed decision. Right. The news is designed to insert some opinion on some factual information, which is controlled by bias, which eliminates factual information, which doesn't paint the entire picture.
Right.
And it also paints it in such a way that's going to get the biggest response, whether that's positive or negative.
Yeah.
So that's why they focus so much on disasters
Yes.
or things that are happening negative in the world, because they need the clicks to fund the business. So this is not all for just your benefit. I won't say that every news organization does it to the same degree, but they all have hints of it throughout the business, which is why more people are moving to platforms that aren't controlled, because they can say exactly the facts and leave it at that.
Yeah, and we're not political. It's like, but I will tell you, it is. This is happening on both sides of the political spectrum, right?
No question.
There are news organizations that basically they're selling clicks, eyes, trying to grow their audience. And also, let me just, when we say manage your media, I also mean social media as well. You know, you're out there and you're watching like this other agent. They're like, oh, they sold that thing and I didn't sell something, and so I should feel bad about myself, or they're doing this, or they're going on vacation or whatever. And you start to feel bad about yourself. It's like, hey, look, what I'll tell you is, like, especially when it comes to social media, if it makes you feel bad, unfollow it.
Yeah, you're only going to see on social media what people want you to see. You're not going to see the fact that they lost a loved one or their pet died, usually. I mean, all the negative stuff they're probably not putting out there. They're putting out positivity, or look at what's great that's happened to me, which, and I'm not saying that they should or shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that if you think that that's the only thing going on in their life, you're mistaken.
Yeah, so I would just encourage you. It's like, number one, the only person you should be competing with is you, right? You need to compete with yourself and be better than you were yesterday. Don't worry about somebody else. And if something is making you repeatedly feel negatively about a person or an event or somebody's business, get rid of it, right? Unfollow it. You don't need to see it. You need to focus on the things that matter and move your business forward. Don't focus on things that make you feel bad or put you in a bad space. So manage the media and put positive things in your brain, right? Read things, engage with things that open your brain, that don't close your brain, okay? And here's what else I can tell you about everybody else in the social media world that you're competing with. Guess what? They got their own problems and they got their own struggles and relationship stuff, as well as everybody else, right? Everybody's a human, right? So everybody's got problems, and we all highlight, what's best on social media, but it's not representative of reality.
This is a funny quote from my mentor. There was a couple of us over there talking to him, and super, super wealthy person, just worth a lot of money, created and sold a lot of businesses. And somebody kind of at the dinner said, hey, I mean, what do you have to be worried about? You're rich. He said, rich people got problems too, just money's not one of them.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
I mean, like, they have so many problems. Like, everybody has problems. No, There's nobody that's problem free. Trust me.
That's right. But the other thing, back to the news deal, because it is more speculation than fact. News is like, they're like, hey, we're grabbing, information. One of the things is like, so I was in Ramadi, Iraq, in a war zone in 2004. Okay, and they were doing, this is back when Dan Rather was still a news reporter, and he was like in Iraq at the time and doing a report on troops not having enough equipment, enough of our, we didn't have the tools and supplies that we needed and whatever. And we're all like watching this. We're like, what are they talking about? Like, what is they? So basically, probably what they did is they got some story from somebody that says, yeah, I ordered these things and I haven't gotten them yet.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we've got the story created about how the U.S. government is not supplying us with the equipment that we need, which was completely ridiculous. And I was 22 years old and I realized, I'm like, okay, hang on. These people aren't really interested in telling the truth. They're interested in selling a story.
Yeah. And that's the thing about the news is you're going to say, hey, well, it's fact checked. It is. They have professional people on staff to check facts. That's true. What they don't have is professional people on staff to make sure that all the facts are included so that the entire picture is painted.
We did an example of this. So I think this will land. Okay. So one of the first primary rules of journalism, right? So if you're a journalist, they'll tell you there is no arrangement of facts that is without bias. And also what you can also know for journalism, sometimes they'll omit or add a word to make you think a completely different thing. So I'm going to give you an example here. So we're going to talk about school. We'll just use a school example. So it's a history teacher. Okay. The history teacher is absent today. Fact number 1. He has a child that's sick. Fact number 2. Saw him at the grocery store during school hours. Fact number 3. And he was picking up medicine and a 6-pack of beer. Number 4. Okay. All right. Perfectly reasonable situation, right? History, they went to go get some medicine, thought he'd grab some beer, whatever. Not a big deal. Okay. And now let me just take those same facts and do something a little bit different with it. Okay. I saw the history teacher at the grocery store during school hours. He was picking up alcohol. He was absent from school today. He allegedly had a child that was sick. Okay. So I took the same 4 facts and made them tell a completely different story. And just with a little bit of omission and with one word, completely changed the story.
Yeah, if we assume for a second that that was a news outlet, their intention there would be to make you think that this teacher was skipping school to drink and do something like that. When in reality, they changed the word from beer to alcohol, and they omitted the fact that he was picking up medicine, and they used the word allegedly to say that his child was sick. All of those things completely change how someone perceives that story, no matter who you are.
Right. And so that's just an example of like, and really, even if you guys are like in the real estate world, all of your, YouTube people and people that are on Instagram or whatever, they're all doing the same thing. They're trying to sell clicks. They're trying to grow their audience. They're going to get headlines. They're trying to match YouTube algorithms. We do that too. We do things that are like, hey, this is going to work with the YouTube algorithm, so we're going to do this thing. So that's just how people do that stuff, right? But it's not representative of reality, okay? It is a story. It is speculation. So don't get so caught up in somebody's speculative story or narrative, so much so that it distracts you from what you should be doing.
Just a quick example. I mean, are you more likely to click on a news story that says everything in Nashville's running pretty run-of-the-mill today? Or are you going to click on a story that says 30,000 people are going to lose their jobs tomorrow?
Exactly.
You're going to click on that one because you want to know what's going on. It's got the bigger quote-unquote impact. So that's the same thing that these news outlets do. That's while they're focused on the fact that, we're going to lose 30% of our commissions over the next few years, and buyers agents are going away, and all these things, because that's the big story, right?
Yeah. The other thing I want to tell you is like the more things change, the more they stay the same. And over the course of, let's just take the last 20 years, for example, and like, Amazon's taking on the world and so on and so forth, and are taking over retail space. And it was so interesting because I was, we are in an office park type area where they're doing some mixed use commercial development. And I saw a Warby Parker store. Now, if you're not familiar with Warby Parker, it is an internet or an online glasses, what do you call them? Basically, retailer. Okay. And what they do is like they go, hey, you go online, they have an app, you go, oh, I like that those glasses, those glasses, those glasses, those glasses. They send you the glasses, you try them on, you see which ones you like. Okay. You put them all back, you select the one that you like, and then they send you the new one with your new prescription in there. So they do it all for you. It's all done online. It gets sent to your house. Okay. Why would they do a storefront? Because they just opened a storefront the other day.
People like to hold the items, try them on in person, see the full selection, not just a handful. Like they want to shop in person.
Right. And I would imagine they may put an optometrist in there too, just like back in the old days. Now, here's the difference, okay? It's not that storefront glasses shops don't work. It's that if you're building a new one, you will build it differently than you did before. So they started out with online because it's not as cost prohibitive. You can do more. You can get further reach.
A larger audience.
A larger audience online. And so you're building that thing differently than before. But it doesn't mean that the storefront doesn't work, but you're not going to spend all the money for the space and the land and the building and the lease and whatever. You're not going to spend all that money up front anymore. You're going to build your presence online. I would challenge you guys as real estate agents too. The way you're going to build your real estate, build yourself as a real estate professional is different too. If you're not on social media, you need to be on social media. You need to be putting things out there repeatedly, because now that's how people look. That's how people shop. They want to see you're legitimate. They want to see that you're on social media. So you've got to do it now. But what I will tell you is, like, again, it's not that things are that different. It's just the way that things are built are different.
No question.
Right. So the other thing that I think about is like record stores. Why are we doing records again?
The warm sound, man.
Right. It's like, yeah. I mean, I could put a filter. I'm sure I can put a warm sound filter on my Spotify or something like that. But no, it's because there's a nostalgic element to it. And so, and they're like storefront record stores now.
They're in one of the highest ticket storefront areas in our area now, just so they're doing at least decent to be able to afford that space, or they're not going to last very long, one or the other. But yeah, I mean, there's just a bunch of them popping up. And so it's, people like to go back to the way they used to listen to music, and it's nostalgic. So.
Right. It's just so funny because things just swing. There's a whole like pendulum of things that are switching from digital to analog to people liking the nostalgia and people. I mean, everything is sort of moving in the marketplace, and it's hard to sort of nail down. The only certainty is change, and the only thing that you can do about it is be willing to adapt.
Well, I mean, we glossed over Amazon, right? Okay. So Amazon was going to take over the planet, and they've done a really good job fulfilling a lot of different needs. No question.
There's no question.
But look at how all the other local businesses adapted, right? So now you have delivery services that will go to all the other local businesses and bring you stuff just like Amazon does very quickly. So and they leverage other drivers out there to do that. So other local businesses use it as an opportunity. Like, hey, we can get products in people's hands quickly too.
Yeah.
And this is how we'll do it.
Well, and the thing is, like with innovation, and speaking of Amazon and innovating in the marketplace and like doing something different, Amazon lost money forever.
Well, not on purpose, but their intention was to just get a brand built and to get products in people's hands quickly as fast as possible.
Right. So innovation, it takes two things, right? It takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of money, right? So people think it's like, we talk about this, like, agents aren't going to wake up tomorrow and, by the way, there's no real estate agents anymore, or 700,000 people just left the real estate industry tomorrow, right? It doesn't happen that way. Innovation takes time and it takes money. And so even if you have a great idea, the greatest idea on the planet, you still have to implement it. You still have to sell it. You still have to fund it.
And even today, at the Amazon arm that doesn't make the company money. It's the AWS arm, and it's the technology platform and consulting services arm that makes the company a lot of the money. So, same concept.
Right. So here's the decision that you need to make as a real estate agent. In the new world, right? And as all of this stuff is going on, you need to make a decision for either. So there's two ways to do real estate. There's agent-enabled technology, or there's technology-enabled agents. Okay? Neither one of them is bad. Okay? They are very different in the way that they operate. So let's just take, for example, Zillow. Okay? Zillow is agent-enabled technology. If Zillow could get rid of the real estate agent, they probably would.
And kind of tried.
Right? But they've realized, we need these agents to carry these people through the transaction.
Well, and there's nuances to every market that analytics, doesn't do it justice.
So what Zillow has done is they're like, hey, we're going to take a portion off the top, or you're going to pay us a monthly fee or whatever. We're going to give you these leads, just take them through to fruition and completion. Okay, so that is agent-enabled technology. But the other part is there are technology-enabled agents. So people who have built their database, follow up, have a good following, right? And then they can use like predictive analytics. They can use engagement with their content, right, to drive more business and to grow their audience, and basically those things. So there's agents that are using technology to build their business versus being subject. So one of these is you are a business owner. One of these is you're a salesperson, right? So you can be a salesperson for Zillow, which is fine. There's no problem with that. There are benefits to that, okay? Or you can be a business owner that uses technology. So those two things are going to exist simultaneously. You need to decide which one you're going to be. And by the way, there might be a point where you transition. We're working with people right now that are transitioning from being the salesperson to the business owner. Again, it takes time. It takes effort. You got to build your database. You need to be intentional about building your business. But you're one of two, or you're going to need to decide on one of those things, one between the two. Okay. All right. Get all tripped up there. All right. Let's see here. Oh, this is one you were talking about.
Yeah. I mean, so bringing it back to the buyer's agent going away, nobody can predict what the future looks like. So 10 years from now, they very well may be no buyer's agent representation. Could happen.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. no buyer's agent representation means unrepresented buyers out there working with sellers who have an agent, which means that one agent is representing both parties and can have neither party's interest at the best heart. It's not possible.
Right.
So that's a problem.
Yeah.
But two, like name another industry out there where the seller's company is not paying the commission. So like, you have like insurance, or you have like technology consulting or pharmaceutical sales. The selling company's paying the commission. And you might say, well, they're paying a selling commission to the seller's agent. Yeah, well, and the other thing that I hear a lot is like, oh, well, it's just baked into the price in those. Well, it's baked into the price of the housing market as well.
Yeah.
And so, it kind of circles back to no one's forcing sellers to pay the buyer's commission. They are not forced today.
No.
Now, it's the industry standard.
Yeah.
But a seller agent could work with a seller, sign a listing contract that says 0% to the buying party, put it out on the MLS and see what happens.
They could totally do this. And the problem is, like, this is my thought on it, is this is a COVID problem, basically where we had a bunch of sellers high on their horse that are going like, hey, why do I have to pay the buyer's agent? And it's like, well, really, up until then, the sellers wanted to pay the buyer's agent. They wanted engagement from people who had buyers. And so it's not like they were, blind to that. They knew about it. They signed contracts that represented that. And so I think a lot of this is just like class action lawyers trying to get a payday in a lot of deal. It's like, look, dude, am I going to say that there won't be disruption in the industry? No, but it's like to say that sellers were unaware of this is ridiculous.
Yeah, the flip side of the coin is just not, I painted the picture before. It's just not a good picture to paint. Like, you don't want a bunch of unrepresented buyers out there only represented by a selling party. No. That's not what you want. So the flip side of the coin, like if that works out and that's how it is, I don't think that's a great place to be.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, maybe let's just focus on educating sellers. Like, you don't have to pay a buyer's commission if you don't want to. Yeah. Now, is it going to bring you the best chance of success for selling it for top dollar? Nope.
Right. But the other thing is, in any of this, okay, so let's just talk about the specifics of this lawsuit. And let's just say, boom, they rule that you can't pay buyer's commission. Well, that's not going to change overnight because we still have the Court of Appeals, so it's going to get appealed. So whatever change is going to happen, it's going to take years for this change to happen. It's going to take years. So is this going to affect you in the near future? No. Right. And that's what, I want to encourage you guys as agents is you're not losing your job tomorrow and nothing is changing overnight. Control your inputs, keep doing the things that that work, be willing to do some hard work here. And you're going to be just fine. Right. And here's the other thing, look for the opportunity, any of these markets that change. If you're looking for the opportunity and you're looking for a way and you're staying positive, right? And you're looking for, hey, where do I fit into this? What can I do that is, where's the opportunity in this particular place? You can adapt, right? And that's the reality. Business isn't a certainty. Every business goes through periods of adaptability. And if you don't adapt, it's going to be a problem. And so you can look back over the course of history and see companies that adapted and companies that didn't adapt, right? Netflix started out as mailing you DVDs.
Yep.
And what did they do? They didn't think it's we're going to have a live streaming service someday. They weren't thinking that. Or I don't think that they were thinking that.
Well, they might have been,
Maybe
but they certainly played into what they needed to do at the time.
Yeah, to make money, right? So over time that became a streaming service, right? But there's a number of businesses. You can see the ones that adapted and the ones that didn't, and what has changed. Or what has really been the critical point of their business, and it's just the adaptability.
Yeah, for that to stay on that one, just Blockbuster could have done the exact same thing Netflix is doing
Why
over time.
wouldn't they?
Yeah, they could have. They didn't. They didn't have the forethought.
Yeah, they got stuck in the mud. Well, but even if they didn't have the forethought, they should have seen, hey, this is where this is going, and we can do this.
Exactly. They could have easily just started mailing out your VHSs and then mailing out DVDs, and then just say, well, hey, we could just put it all online. They could have.
There's no reason
evolved.
there's no reason they shouldn't have.
But the biggest thing is, I mean, this is going to take so much time. Like it's not, you're not going to wake up tomorrow and the buyer's agent's going to be gone. It's going to take some time to implement and move through, if it even happens at all. You've got a major affordability problem already.
Yeah.
So people who don't have enough for down payment, who the interest rates are too high, sellers don't want to move because they're sitting on the 3%. All these, and prices are still inflated by some people's terms. So affordability is still an issue. So you think if you also have to have them pay the buyer's agent commission, it's not going to be a bigger affordability problem?
Yeah,
it will.
Come on.
Like there's just a lot of things here that people aren't talking about that are still major hurdles for this to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think for final words on this, we'll just say, like, look, I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but it's going to take some time. Focus on that circle of control. Focus on the things that you can do to improve your business. And I'm not going to tell you the next 6 months, 12 months, whatever is not going to be difficult, but being a real estate agent, period, is going to take some hard work. So you got to be willing to do the hard work. You got to bury your ego. You got to be adaptable. But if you're willing to do those things, you can be immensely successful. And we see people that are doing it now, right? We were just coaching an agent. She's like 0 to 2 million in 8 weeks because she was willing to dig deep and do the work that a lot of real estate agents don't want to do. And so that's where the opportunity is in your ability to clear your head, get to work, get volume of conversations with people who are ready to buy and sell, and make some things happen. So, guys, this is for you guys that can listen to this message and hear it and take action on it. This is your time. So I want to encourage you guys, get out there, be adaptable, work hard, have more conversations, and make some things happen. What else? Are we missing anything?
Nope. I mean, just think about it. This is the biggest purchase in people's lives.
Yeah.
They're not likely to let go of this one as quickly as they would some lower level commodity or consumable product. Yeah. This is a big purchase, a big deal. They want to talk to someone. They want to figure out what the problems are, what the things they're missing are. It's not something that's going to be let go very quickly.
Yeah. All right, guys. As we wrap up, please take some time to like, comment, subscribe, rate us on Google Business, rate us on wherever you listen to podcasts. We really appreciate you guys, your feedback. We're starting to build like a really fun, great community of hardworking real estate agents. And we'd love for you to be a part of it if you aren't. And if you are, we thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.